Scales and chords make people shudder. Visions of childhood piano lessons and colorful bandroom incentive charts may manifest for some. Scales and chords are often treated as musical ladders to climb, something considered important but without sufficient context. There are books filled with scales and chords, countless YouTube videos explaining them, and probably a PDF from your favorite music content creator claiming it will help you master them. When I transferred to Purchase College as a third-year student, it was quickly evident that I was not fluent in all 12 keys. In my first semester of a repertoire class, we played every tune we learned in 12 keys. This particular class had around 30 tunes over the semester, and I fell on my face for the first month. Soon after, I devised a daily scale and arpeggio practice routine. And by the next semester, I was beginning to be able to take tunes through 12 keys on the fly. And more importantly, it was a bit easier each time that I tried. I discovered a few things. First, scales and chords are like musical grammar. Second, understanding scales and chords is as much about your instrument as it is about your ability to think musically. All this to say, becoming fluent in scales and chords expands your musical potential. It did and still does for me. Scales and chords are abstractions, a way of codifying the melodic and harmonic building blocks of music. On their own, scales and chords are not music, but rather tools we can use to more deliberately make and play music. When I was a young musician, I didn't think about how to systematically learn scales and chords. It felt like homework, to be totally honest, and I was never exposed to the broader purpose. Now that I work with young musicians, I recognize the value of teaching scales and chords to developing creative musician. That is, folks hoping to open their ears, improvise, and compose. In jazz music, we talk a lot about improvisational vocabulary. Scales and chords are not vocabulary, but rather the alphabet our tonal vocabulary is grounded in. Fluency in chords and scales makes everything a bit more logical and systematic. Over the past year, I redefined how I first introduced chords and scales to students. With regular practice, meaning at least 4 times per week, a student can build a foundation of basic scales and chords in 12 keys in 6 months or so. You'll find that certain domains within your practice will be long, a marathon, while others are shorter, a sprint. This particular practice method is a sprint, allowing you to tangibly change your playing in a short period of time. The roadmap I've worked out is broken up into 1-month increments. Each month, you'll focus on 1 to 3 keys and their respective scales and chords. The key to this practice plan is to show up consistently. Again, 4 times per week at minimum. At the beginning of the month, it will take only about 5 minutes, and at the end of the month, it will increase to around 15 minutes. Here's the month-to-month roadmap for this practice plan. For month 1, you'll learn the keys of C and G major as well as A and E minor. For month 2, you'll learn the keys of D and A major as well as B and F sharp minor. For month 3, you'll learn E major, C sharp minor, and the chromatic scale. For month 4, you'll learn B and F major as well as G sharp and D minor. For month 5, you'll learn B flat and E flat major as well as G and C minor. And for month 6, you'll learn the keys of F sharp, C sharp, and A flat major, as well as E flat, B flat, and F minor. Here is the week-to-week roadmap for this practice plan. For week 1 of each month, you'll focus on 5-note scales, do to sol, in the keys mentioned before. The key is to play them with a consistent pulse against time, basically like a metronome or a backing track, for about 1 minute each. If you play an instrument where your voice is freed up, say the notes while you play them. This helps you learn the geography of your instrument. For week 2, you will continue to start with the 5-note scales. If these feel easy, your practice is beginning to show its value already. Reviewing these helps build continuity into your musical memory. In addition, you will add full scales, i.e. do to do, in the same keys as week 1. Continue to play these with a consistent pulse against time for 1 to 2 minutes each. If you have an instrument with a big range, try the scales in 2 octaves. If you play an instrument where your voice is freed up, say the notes while you play them. For weeks 3 and 4, continue to review the 5-note and full scales. This part will take only a short amount of time at this point, as they have developed in your musical memory. At this point, we will add in chords. Now, there are 4 particular chords you will study in this exercise: the 1, 4, 5, and 6 in the major keys. They are everywhere, and knowing them deeply will get you a ton of mileage musically. What's more is that the chords repeat in other keys under different circumstances. For example, an E minor chord in G major is the 6th chord, but in C major it's the 3 chord. Over the course of this practice plan, you will learn every chord, both major and minor, in all 12 keys, with the exception of the diminished 7th chord, because it's not used quite as often. For this exercise, you will write a chord progression using these chords. Start with only 4 chords, but feel free to get adventurous once you're comfortable. For the chord progression you wrote, choose inversions that make for smooth voice leading. You don't need to worry about following counterpoint rules or anything incredibly formal. Just make it sound nice. On melodic instruments like saxophone, trumpet, violin, or whatever you may play, play the arpeggios with a consistent pulse against time. On harmonic instruments, guitar, piano, and other things like that, play both the full chords and the arpeggios with a consistent pulse against time. As mentioned earlier, the primary aim of improving your scale and chord knowledge is to expand your musical mind. This will better facilitate collaboration with other musicians and help you connect the dots in your own musical ventures. It is still important that you aim for good technique on your instrument when studying this material, so here are a few instrument-specific notes. On piano, you'll want to play all of these exercises in 2 hands. The fingers you use for each scale is very important. If you need a more robust resource for the piano finger numbers, consider using Alfred's Scale and Arpeggio book. This has basically everything you could need. On guitar and bass, you are riddled with multiple positions for everything you play. I would encourage folks on these instruments to investigate the caged system. With this exercise, you can actually kind of use that alongside the keys. So let's say you're learning the keys of C and G in month 1. That would be a great opportunity to learn the C and G positions in the cage system. And then you can sort of spread out the positions along with the keys as you learn them. And by the end, you would know the full cage system as well as your chords and scales. On wind instruments, we are often playing transposed parts. I've never met a horn player who didn't first learn the concert B flat and E flat keys. And I'm assuming that that will not change anytime soon. However, one of the best skills I've learned as a saxophonist is being able to transpose on the fly, meaning you're reading concert music but playing the correct notes on your instruments. Consider trying to learn your C and G scales in the first month by sight transposing, i.e. reading the concert notes but playing the transposed pitches. This will be pretty hard at first, but eventually it'll be second nature. I don't even write transposed parts for myself or other folks that I work with anymore. It's very standard to transpose on the fly. If you're hoping to dive a bit deeper, you can find the exercise that I reference in this video on my Substack linked below. And if you feel like supporting my work, you can become a free or a paid subscriber. I post the written versions of these video essays 1 week prior to the video versions, and they come with all the resources and screenshots and links that you could need to fully digest the material. So a bit more candidly and off script, I want to talk about the intention of this exercise and who it is meant for. So this exercise is something that I've actually developed like in the real world with real students, and I found that it works differently depending on where you are in your musical journey. I would say the best candidate for this exercise is someone that's been playing for about 6 months to a year and is like relatively comfortable on their instrument. That being said, you could play it sooner. I actually started a student that was brand new to the piano on this exercise this year, and it's working. It's taking a bit longer than 6 months. I would say instead of 1 month increments for each pair of keys, it's taking about 6 to 8 weeks. So about 1.5 times to twice as long. So it is doable as a total beginner on your instrument, but it will go a bit more according to plan if you've been playing for a few months or a year. For advanced players, this is probably nothing very new to you. However, it may help round out inadequacies in your playing or things that haven't quite matched up to your other skills. So let's say you've been playing for a long time and you can really play in the keys of C, G, F, B flat, E flat, whatever have you. But when you play in the key of E, you're kind of challenged by that. I know a lot of piano players don't love the key of E. This would be a good opportunity to kind of level the playing field among your keys. That being said, I do have a more advanced version of this piece that I will be rolling out over the next 2 weeks on my Substack and YouTube called Mastering Key Centers, that is more abstract, more improvisational and composition based, and meant for people that already have a base level of fluency in 12 keys. So again, if you're interested in keeping up with that, feel free to subscribe to my Substack, and you will get that delivered directly to your inbox. If you made it this far into the video, I thank you dearly. This piece is a bit more on the technical and quite frankly nerdy side of music, but I do feel that it'll provide a lot of value to a lot of different musicians. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you tried the exercise, let me know how it goes in the comments. And if you want to stay in touch and get my videos delivered directly to you, please subscribe to my channel as it helps me stay relevant in the YouTube omnisphere. I will be back next week with a Substack piece on mastering key centers, and back here on YouTube the following week with the video essay version of that piece. Until then, be well and happy practicing.